The leaves of the tree are for healing.
Shalom. So I wanted to do a quick video today about losing things and regaining them. Christ says whatever we lose in order to follow him will be given to us 100-fold. That's, of course, in the parable of Job. He lost lots of things, but he was given many others in response to that. On the reincarnation series, it actually talks about how when it says that we're going to be having multiple family members, like multiple mothers and fathers and things like that, once we lose it, it seems like that's further lives in the future. But regardless of all that, I think there is something to losing in this life and gaining in this life. And so I just wanted to discuss my thoughts about that recently. I've given up a lot in my life, and I've lost a lot, and I've seen how things have come back to me. And, the same thing goes also for Joseph. He lost a lot. His family members, had dumped him off and everything, but he got his family back and he got treasures, etc., for following the Father. This stuff can happen in a lifetime. And, Abraham, I think he, changed and he got a lot in the future too. Same lifetime. I don't think you have to wait for another lifetime for that. So if you don't believe in reincarnation, just understand it as that. Once we're a new creation, whatever we've given up, we can get more. And I wanted to talk about this from a law of attraction perspective also, because I've gone through last fall, I had a bunch of stuff in a shed of things I'd packed away, of things that I had been selling on Amazon previously, another life. And it was just a bunch of stuff that I'd had when I moved after my house got foreclosed upon. And so I went forth and I felt that it was time to just get rid of it. So last year around fall, I threw out a lot of stuff. And there's another verse in the Bible, I forget where, but it talks about the magicians who had a bunch of magical books that were really expensive, and I think they burned them or they just got rid of them, and they weren't going to sell them, but they could have sold them, but they didn't. They just got rid of them. And that always stayed with me, this whole idea that you've got a lot of stuff, and just because it was a mistake, oftentimes we try to hold on to this stuff because we spent a lot of money on it or whatever. And it's like, well, why should I throw this away? Maybe I could get money for it, or maybe I can give it to somebody, and we just keep holding this stuff. So I just decided I'm going to go and throw it away. I threw a lot of it away. Some of it went to donation, but a lot of it just got thrown away. And it wasn't like magic books or something that was going to harm people, but, just junk that maybe I could have sold somewhere, but I wasn't really going to sell it. So I got rid of it. And then I realized after Christmas time around there last year, I got this job with the product testing company, and now I get a ton of products for free, or now I get rebates and things like that. So I've actually got a lot of stuff again. But it's new. But what I'm trying to say is basically, I got rid of a lot of stuff that I could not easily sell on eBay or Amazon or whatever, but just stuff. And now I had a bunch more. And it's not so much the stuff, I'm trying to get to the point. It's just that it was re-given. And from the law of attraction perspective, what you have, what you've built up, it's around you vibrationally. And it manifests into things. And so I had a bunch of stuff, and I got rid of it physically, but I ended up manifesting it around me again, basically. But different stuff, better, etc. Things that I actually could sell, and things that people want, and things that I could give as gifts or whatever. none of that really matters. I'm just saying that what I had vibrationally just manifested into other stuff as soon as I got rid of it. Same thing happened with me getting rid of clothes. I just went through my closet and I threw away some stuff, and then I manifest new free clothes or cheap clothes, etc. It's because what you've built up vibrationally is still there. And there's a video by Abraham that talks about this, where somebody, she says, or Esther or whatever, Abraham, says that there was this man who had millions of dollars and he went broke, basically. And he's like, I've lost it all. And Abraham says, no, you didn't really lose it all, because you've already got that stuff vibrationally. Right now it's just not manifested in money. And what happens is if you can stop focusing on, like, I don't have this, because the more you focus on it, you won't have that. But if you can just relax and just say, well, it disappeared here, but it'll reappear here, and just have faith and be optimistic, then it'll just come in again. There was one thing I was working on, gigs, where I, do graphic art and do social media posting and things like that. And that gig dried up, basically, because he moved on to something else. And I kept telling myself I didn't lose the money that was coming into me. It'll come in a different way. Just like I talked about in the other video, when God closes a door, he opens a window. But I said it the other way, because when it's better, when God closes the window, he opens a door. Whatever is closed in the past can have a better, result in the future. And so, as soon as that happened, the gig is dried up, then I just trusted that everything would continue on, went forth in faith, and then my YouTube channel started making a little bit more money, and right now it's being able to compensate for what had disappeared. And this is what I say, don't be idolatrous about saying all your money has to come from this job, and if this job disappears, I don't know what I'm going to do, because that's idolizing that job rather than trusting that the money's going to come. You just don't know where it's going to come from. And so that's no longer idolatry, to just understand the money's going to be there. So I've talked about that before. But anyway, I'm just saying that vibrationally what we have is still here. Even if you think that you've lost something, then you can gain it again. And Christ says basically what you give up, you're not really giving up, you're going to get. But it's going to be better in a different way. And so if you gave up a great job with money to follow him, you're going to still be able to have a great job with money. It's just not going to be what you did in the past life, basically. And so don't worry about what you're giving up. Now, there's a lot of people out there who think, like, sell it all and follow him. And then they're like, but what if I sell it all? I'm not going to have anything. And they don't understand that concept. And that's what I'm trying to explain, the vibrational concept. Is that whatever we have, we still have it. It'll just come in a different way. You have to have faith for it to appear. Like I said, if your job disappears and you were idolizing your job, saying this is where all my money's going to come from, and if I give it up to follow Christ, what am I going to do? If you continue to think thoughts like, I'm not going to have enough money, I'm not going to have enough money, you can manifest it in your life and just sort of block off any kind of abundance. And so I'm just speaking from experience, basically, at this point. I've seen this stuff happen in my life, and that's why I'm sharing it. So, yes, you can kind of screw it up if you don't have faith that things will come, and you're worried, and you're idolizing a particular job, etc. I'm not telling people to go forth and sell everything that they have and quit their job. You have to follow the Spirit and understand that sometimes he wants us in jobs that some people think, why would he want me in this job? But there's a purpose for it. So I'm not going to be trying to judge that. So I'm not saying that people should go out and quit their job, but there's something to be said about the people that are around you in your job. With the law of attraction, you have to actually feel like you are who you want to be. And when you see yourself as more successful or in a successful relationship or whatever the thing may be that you're trying to get, you need to actually like embody it personally. And when you meet somebody who from your past has a different view of you, then they are sort of projecting that view of you onto you. And this doesn't happen if you don't agree with them, but if you do agree with them, you can't move forward. So let's say there's this person. Let's say you used to be a big liar, and this person knows you. They know what you used to do, and then they would like see you as a liar. And so you say something, and they say, "Well, I don't believe you, because you used to lie about all this other stuff." And if you agree with them, "Oh yeah, I used to be a liar. Maybe I didn't actually see what I thought I saw or something." And then you can get into the narcissistic stuff, which I've done videos about. Regardless, they have a perception of you, you have a perception of you, and if you're steadfast in what you believe and who you are, then what they believe in you will not affect you personally. But if what they believe in you is something you think about yourself, then they might pull the liar out of you, and then you might show yourself to be more what they think you are. If you meet up with somebody, on the other hand, who they're saying, "Wow, you have just grown immensely. You're doing great at this. You're so professional." Then if you agree with what they're saying, they can kind of pull the good out of you, and you sort of go forward, go with them. We're not supposed to care about what either group thinks. And we're supposed to be just one with ourselves and not worry about outside interference, one with God, etc., the higher self or the spirit inside. We're not supposed to care about what anybody else thinks, even if they think, you're great, or if they think you suck. We're not supposed to care. They're all coming from their own perspectives, and they don't know the real you. So the thing is, if you're in a job and you want to move forward into a different job where, let's say right now you're just a worker, but you want to be a leader, you need to embody being a leader, but other people still see you as the person who fetches coffee, then sometimes you need out of a situation, because the person who sees you as just the person who gets coffee can sort of drag you down because of your beliefs that that's who you are. And sometimes it takes taking you out of the situation and placing you elsewhere for you to get a new perspective of who you are and who you could be in the future. So oftentimes the clothes that we own bring up things to our mind, and it can make you feel professional or awesome, or it can make you feel like, wow, yeah, that's the shirt I wore when I did whatever I don't like that I did. And it's not often conscious, but sometimes unconsciously we can have attachments to things. And I guess this is what somebody might call a curse. If you have a perspective of yourself when you see this clothing item, this book, a phone, or your hairbrush, it could just be anything random. But maybe not consciously, but unconsciously, holding on to things for so long can create a reality for you that you are agreeing with. And so it can be very helpful to throw that stuff away, become a new person, new creation, and you will gain better stuff that has better vibes, let's say. Now, I think that's kind of partly why Yahweh took the people out of Egypt and had them wander in the desert, because even though they left, they were still wanting meat. That's why they were clamoring over meat after they had the manna, the bread of life. And once they got the quail, then they died, etc. So there was still and obviously not all of them died, or they would have just not gone out of existence. So some of them were able to be taken out of the place and become new creations and move forward. Some of them were not able to do that. But I think that's why they kind of had to get pulled out of that situation, because as they were still staying in that situation, the things around them were keeping them down. And so our things that we keep in our house may keep us down in some ways. And so it can be helpful to rid yourself of the old and bring in the new. And it doesn't have to be right away. And there's nothing, I'm not saying that you should go into poverty, sell all you have, and then that's it. You just sit there like, I don't have anything. What do I do? But there's benefit to going through the fast of having some stuff, I think. I just threw that stuff out from the shed, and I didn't have it anymore. And I thought, that's it. And then I realized after, months and months and months, wow, I'm accumulating all this stuff again. Whatever I did get rid of, I end up getting it in a different way, and it just keeps happening. So I know that's kind of the way it goes. That, our vibe, the things that are ours, and it's not going to just disappear vibrationally. But we do have to go through and get rid of things once in a while. Sort of clean out the closet. And I've noticed when I clean, I feel better. Throwing away things or organizing them, it helps you spiritually, because there, on some level, when people have a bunch of stuff around, it clutters up their mind. I mean, why should that even be a thing, that it will clutter up your mind if you have a bunch of clutter around the house? Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of stuff, like, let's say there's a bunch of clutter around the house. It's very dirty, and you're thinking like, wow, I should really clean, but I'm not. I should really organize that, but I haven't. The thing is, it's on your mind. Even if you're not consciously aware of it, whenever you walk into a room that's like, I should clean, there's this I should clean negative vibe that's kind of bringing you down. Whereas you walk into a room, like, you just cleaned it. The next day you walk in there and you're like, wow, I'm really glad this is all organized and clean. Because the stuff around us is a reflection, and it matters. So that's why what I'm saying is there's some stuff around you that you might want to get rid of, solely because on some level, whether consciously or unconsciously, it is dragging you down. And somewhat related, there are people in your life that can do the same thing. So sometimes you have to lose friends. And so, like I said, that's what I've been dealing with this past year is, I'm getting to the point where I'm moving forward, and then these, people end up being out of my life because I've gone forward and they're not doing that, and we're not vibing anymore. But I realized if I had stayed, then their thoughts about me may have dragged me down. Whereas without, releasing the relationships and just letting go can help me to find out who I truly am and move forward. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now, is trying to figure out who am I without thinking about what other people are thinking about me. There's a bunch of people on my channel that have left in the past. You're just like, as soon as I say something like Jesus isn't God or whatever, or reincarnation, people freak out sometimes, and then they leave, and that's fine. If they don't agree with it and don't want to listen to it, then don't listen to it. That's great. But, it's okay to move forward, because I'm not going to just sit around statically and just repeat like the feather tickling people's ears. I'm not going to just keep saying the same thing over and over again that just is going to keep people complacent. I want to move forward and be more like God. We're supposed to be purifying ourselves as God is pure. I mean, that's the whole point of the Christian scriptures, is that we're supposed to be getting rid of sin. We're supposed to be moving forward and listening to our Father, dying to our old self and being filled with the Spirit so we can do our Father's will, and I think our Father has a very specific plan for every single person, and it's different for every single person. And when you're listening to one person or another about what you should do, then you're not listening to the Father about what you're supposed to be doing. So, it's not a big deal to get rid of old stuff, because when you get rid of the old stuff or old relationships or old, friendships or whatever, it may have just been keeping you down, and you can move forward in being who you truly are and bring in the new. Bring in the refreshed. Bring in the hundredfold better life that we've been promised when we give up the things to follow after Christ. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and shalom.
Chris White once coined the phrase short-term New World Order freakout syndrome to explain what it's like to have your perception of the world shattered. Of course, it's not just about the shape of the world, whether it's flat, round, or something else entirely. This New World Order freakout often includes now saying no to GMOs, fluoride, vaccines, and pharmaceuticals. It's a complete overhaul to your lifestyle. And trying to explain that mainstream media is just propaganda to promote false flags, division, and more can really put a strain on your relationships. Have you gotten tired of being mocked by your own family for what you share? We've all been there. Are you treated like the black sheep because of the commandments you keep? I get it. We're all trying to figure things out together, but sometimes you just have to let your family and friends be. Plant the seed and wait and see. But while you wait for them to catch up, do you wish you had someone to talk with who gets it? That's what Truther Talk is for. Being able to discuss what's going on in your life and what you're interested in without feeling like you're going to be judged as a crazy conspiracy theorist who should be on drugs or committed. No subject is taboo, and I'd love to hear from you. Simply truthertalk.com. Simply make an appointment and let's talk, Truther. The ladies of the truth.